Hey guys, today I'm going to be reviewing the Milk Foundation Stick. I received this complimentary in exchange for a review from Influenster. This is the Milk Flex Foundation Stick. I received two shades. I received Light and Light Sand. Let's go over what the foundation claims it's going to do, and I'm going to do a wear test for you guys also. The Milk Foundation Stick claims to have medium coverage, a natural finish foundation, and calms and flexes without creasing or caking, which is interesting because I get really bad creasing right here and right here. So I'm not gonna powder my face in those areas to see if it creases. It probably will, because even when I powder it, it creases. The last couple days I've used it, but I'll do it for the sake of the review. So it claims to have buildable coverage and that it's an easy application because it's a stick. So I'll demo that for you guys, but so far I really do like this stick. I want you guys to see how it performs over at least an 8-hour day. I'm gonna shoot for 10 hours. This also claims to have Blue Lotus to moisturize, chamomile to help calm redness and soothe skin. And I think it really does help even out the skin tone a lot and not look super cakey, and it's lasted all day for me so far. But let's see how it fares in a 10-hour or 8-hour wear test. So I'm going to apply the foundation on the right side of my face with a brush and the left hand side of my face with a beauty blender. I typically prefer a beauty blender finish. I almost never use a brush, but for those people that like to use a foundation brush, I'm going to use that on my right hand side. So I'm going to go in with 2 swipes on my cheeks, 1 on my forehead, a little bit there, and since this is medium coverage, hopefully this won't be too full coverage. So the reason I don't really like applying with a brush is because it can look a little streaky, not as seamless, but this finish actually looks really nice. I don't know if you can tell, but this is a perfect match for my neck and my chest. So it looks like this has nice coverage on this side. It didn't completely cover this red looking mark, which is from me blowing my nose too much last night, and this little dark spot, but it almost completely covered this side of my face. Let me show you guys what I look like without foundation, and then swipe this on a little bit around I don't like to put too much around my mouth area because it gets cakey really fast. I only applied moisturizer under this because I didn't want to do a primer. I just didn't want it to affect how the foundation was gonna look. Wow. Okay, so surprisingly, I like how it looks better on the brush side. The stick is kind of dry, so if you swipe it on, you kind of need to really push it into your skin. I'm gonna build it up just a little bit on my cheek here and on my nose. And I added just a little bit around my mouth too, actually. Yeah, so it's not gonna cover that up. I don't think it's the foundation's fault. It's kind of like open skin, but at least calm down the redness. So I really like how my base looks so far. I'm not gonna spot conceal the areas that are bothering me a little bit. So this little spot here, the spot on my nose, and then right here, I'm just gonna leave it alone. I'm gonna do the rest of my face off camera, and then I'll do a check-in for you guys. So right now it is 12:06, so I'm gonna try to keep this on at least until 10 o'clock. I'm gonna try not to powder my face at all. I'm gonna stick to creams. I'm gonna do a cream blush, a little bit of cream highlighter, eyebrows, and just mascara. I don't wear eye concealer day to day, so I'm just gonna leave it blank like this and see how it looks. But so far I really like the coverage of this. I don't even need to bring it down my neck because the match is really good. I'll let you guys know how my other products went on top of it. Alright, so I am back. I used the Stila convertible color in Peony. I went over just a little bit because I wanted something more glowy in Perfect Flush Blush Candy Glow. This is the Too Faced one. I use my Colourpop Super Shock highlighter in the shade Wisp. I use the Anastasia new Dipbrow brow gel on my eyebrows, and then this is the Brink Colourpop lip liner, and then I just use my Maybelline The Rocket mascara on my lashes. I typically use cream blush and highlighter on a day-to-day basis, and it usually lasts me at least 8 hours. I have a complete blush look. It hasn't faded away, especially when I go to work and I'm sweating and I'm walking around and stuff. So I want to see if the foundation is going to affect the wearing of my cheek products. One thing is the foundation claimed to have been natural glow or natural finish, and in the past couple times that I wore it, I agreed with it, but since I was wearing glowy products underneath, like a glowy primer and stuff, it looks very glowy. But now I'm thinking it's more matte, on the matte side of a natural, but it looks really good so far. I do kind of have my opinion set on this, but this is gonna be my, you know, last go around to get my final thoughts on it. But I still like this foundation. I think I have a little bit of creasing around my mouth. I didn't set it this time. It's not too bad. I could probably pat it in. I'm not wearing anything under my eyes. Everything here is just natural. This is all foundation, but I think it looks really good. My blush blended really well on top, and I did put a little bit of bronzer on my temples, which I usually have to set because foundation will stick to my brush and make it patchy, but it looks really good. I really like how this foundation looks so far. So don't forget, we started at 12 for the wear test. I'll be back in 2 or 3 hours to check in with you guys and let you see how it looks in natural lighting. So I'll see you guys in a little bit. So this is just a quick close-up of my face so you guys can see how things are looking at the beginning of the wear test, to see if there's any creasing, any texture being emphasized. Hey guys, it's actually been 5 hours since the beginning of the wear test. I look really oily. It looks really oily. Even though I'm dry skinned, I still typically powder because I get really oily in these areas because I live in Southern California. I still think that it looks really good and really glowy. That's how I like my cheek areas and my forehead to appear. I am getting some bad creasings around my mouth, and it's lasting really well. I haven't lost any coverage on my cheeks or on my forehead. So far I really like this foundation just on its own, and I'll give you guys my opinion from the last week of trying it in the next check-in. See you guys in a little bit. Hey guys, I'm back. It is 9:40. So it's been almost 10 hours since I started the wear test. I look really greasy. I honestly think it's because of the weather, because it's so hot. It's starting to break up a little bit because I'm just using the foundation, no primer, no powder, nothing. Just I left it just the way that it is. I really liked it in the beginning. Definitely know I can prevent some of this by just putting on a dewy primer or really moisturizing my skin and putting powder just where I really need it, because I'm getting so oily that it's starting to break up, and then I already have dry skin, so it's like clinging to those sections. And I wore it for 14 hours the first time around and 12 hours the next day, and both days they looked really good, but I did use it in conjunction with the products that I usually use. Personally, as soon as I finish this stick, I will repurchase this foundation. It is perfect for an everyday kind of makeup that I would like to do. So I typically will put on a little bit of foundation or concealer on my cheeks, blend that in, put on cream blush, cream highlighter, and powder the sections that I need to. So right here on my nose, around my cheek area, and around my mouth, especially because I work on a grill, so I get the oiliness and the heat coming at me. So I like to use products I can just blend right in, but also keep these areas right here at bay. It's so convenient. The first time that I did this, I was trying to do a fast foundation look. Usually it takes me about 40 minutes to do altogether. I think it took me around 20 minutes the first time I tried to use it. It definitely cut down my time in half because I just had to swipe it on, blend it in, and then I just went right in with my blush and everything. When I do my liquid foundations, I feel like I have to work so much harder. And on the days that I wore them for a really, really long time, it was like the perfect foundation. Usually I can't touch up in areas that need coverage or powder on top without it looking cakey, but this one I was able to put powder on top. I was able to put concealer right where I needed it, put a little bit more cream blush, reapply throughout the day, because it is a 14-hour day, but it looked as best as it possibly could have for how long I was wearing it for. But I think this foundation is beautiful, but if you like full coverage foundation, this is not for you. Do not get this foundation if you're expecting super full coverage, super like thick or super perfecting, because this couldn't cover some of my dark spots that I have, and my redness does peek through just a little bit, but I don't mind that on a day-to-day basis because I don't want to look like I'm wearing a ton of foundation and I don't want to feel it on my skin. Even right now that I feel very oily, I don't really feel it on my skin, and I was having times where I would touch my face and I wasn't getting any transfer, and I didn't set this, and I like being able to blend things in. It does crease. It didn't crease too much in my eyebrow area, but I didn't put too much product in there because I usually don't, because I know it'll crease. It did crease around my mouth area, so I'm going to show you really quickly how I would like this foundation to look at the end of the day and what kind of steps I would take to make it look better. Alright, so this is typically how I would like the foundation to look. It's not so dewy. It's glowy where I would like it to be, and it's very natural. But I think this is the perfect type of foundation to be able to touch up with, to wear for a really long day and not want it to look cakey. Because I went to San Diego this past week and I did wear this foundation for all 3 days. I went to the beach, we went to the safari park, we went to Legoland, and my foundation looked really, really good. And actually the one day that I didn't wear this, my foundation looked like crap. It was separating, it looked really bad, it was caking up really bad. I couldn't really blend things back in with my finger or use a brush to touch up throughout the day and kind of perfect it. And it still looked really good at the end of the night, the second day that we went, and I didn't really have to do anything to it. I just put on a little bit more blush because we were going out at night and I was doing a day to night look. But this one, I don't think it emphasizes texture. It looks beautiful with a brush. It blends out in seconds with a brush and takes a little bit more work with the beauty blender, but it still looks really good. Overall, my final thoughts. I think this foundation is really good. Would I pay $36 for this? Yes, I absolutely would, for something that I can wear day to day or on a really long day. This foundation will last you a long time and it'll be beautiful to touch up with. My blush and my highlighter, my bronzer lasted just as long as it usually would with a long wearing foundation, and I can't feel this nearly as much on my skin. If you can find your perfect match, you can just put it in a couple of areas and it looks like you're not even wearing any makeup. This is very beautiful. I highly recommend this if they have your shade. I think this foundation could work for oily and dry skin. I really like this. This perfectly matches my skin. I got really lucky because I chose the match online when I did the test. I like to do really in-depth reviews because I know most people aren't wearing foundation for 4 or 6 hours. I typically wear foundation for 8 to 10 hours. So that is why I decided to do a 10-hour wear test for this. I hope you guys liked my 10-hour wear test and review of the Milk Foundation Flex Stick. Don't forget to like and subscribe down below and share this with your friends, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!